The third assignment is basically based on 2D arrays. So you've been provided some data, so you've got some data here, and you could check on Canvas. You have a CPP file which has the data for the different currencies. So here we have different currencies. So you have all these currencies. So the data I've actually provided you only has one part of the data. It doesn't give you all the data. So it'll only give you a part of the data. So when you do go to Canvas and you download the CPP file, the data file, so here I've given you the arrays, and yes, some of you are probably asking, the index starts from 1. I've actually put that so it makes sense to you, but generally the index should start from 0. So you've got this is a 2D array, so this should be 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on. So you can make those changes, but you generally can't change anything else. I don't want you adding data here manually. I want you to do that through the code. So you're going to have some nested loops that are going to have to go through the code. You're going to have to grab this data, and you're going to have to work out what US dollars to euro is, and from euros to US dollars. You can convert that. It's not that difficult at all. So the output, generally, once you've got that data, the output is going to be triggered from within the code. You're going to have to work out what the conversion back is from the rate that you already have, which is this data here. So I don't want you changing any of this. So I've given you some reference here, and there's some typos here that shouldn't be there. This should be F4, F5. So let me see if I can dig out the file for that. See if I can. Okay. Update that. That should be F4, F5, F6, F5. So that's how it should be generally. Doesn't get up. Did it write it? Let me close this. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to save as PDF. It let me. Let me try opening this now. Hopefully it should not crash. So if we look at the bottom, so things you need to remember is, remember you've got the top data here. So in order to work out the data here, this actually goes at a different, the data at the top goes from left to right, and the data here goes from bottom to top. So you're going to have to work that out in your loop. And if you can remember the pyramid, remember how we did that? So you need to understand what value is going to be stored at the top in order to manipulate that data. So it's going to be some form of nested loops, and be able to access the different cells on your 2D array. So how do you work this out? You need to first not just dive straight into coding. You need to sit down and try to break this down into smaller chunks. So what I would suggest is just try doing the first row and the last column. And there is a particular sequence and a pattern that runs throughout this. Once you figure that out, you should be able to work out all the other cells. So once again, the data has been provided. It's not the same data as you see in the screenshot. Okay, so this data, so don't assume the data I've provided is going to give you this output. This is just a sample. Okay, this is totally different data. Questions on that? Questions?
So you're saying the values of this are different, but the format?
Format's the same exactly, yes. Yes, the values are different in the data I've given to you, yes. That's why I've given you 2 weeks to work on this. 2 weeks. So it's a 2-week assignment. The way the grading for this particular assignment, I'll actually upload the current file. So full program functionality, 6 points. 3 points are going to be usage of 2-dimensional arrays, more than 2 functions. Update matrix and currency rates using nested loops. An if statement too. And where would you need to use the if statement? So if you look at the output, I mean, you can't convert US to US dollars, can you? So you generally need something within those cells that run across diagonally in the middle. So that's where the if statement is going to fall. And then another 3 points are going to be efficient and neat code. Questions on that? Questions? No questions? Is that straightforward? Yes? No? Okay, so when you do start working on it, let me know if there's any questions. Okay. So now if we go back to the last example, or the exercise. So I'll actually give you time. We're going to run out. I don't know if most of you may be able to do this. So this is the exercise I'd like you guys to work on during class. So how do you tackle this? So remember, it's a 2D array. 2D array. So I'll give you the remainder of the class to work on that.